Vincent, when you were young, when you were a little child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Back then, I don't have any ideas of what I want to be. But of course, there are a few kind of jobs that I would like to go into. Like one of them is to become a police officer. I mean, last time as we play like police and thief, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I thought that, okay, I want to be a police officer. Yeah.
not the teeth, yeah?
Not the thief. Definitely.
Okay. So obviously you did not become a police officer. What happened?
I was a police officer.
Oh, you
I
were.
signed
For how
on, yeah,
long?
Oh,
for about 6 years. Yeah.
Okay.
After graduated from poly, yeah, I signed
mm,
on, yeah, as a regular in serving in the police force for 6 years. So
Wow.
maybe I
Okay.
fulfill my dreams.
Yes, you did. And then you came out of it and did something very
Yes,
different.
yeah. And then I pursue my degree in psychology and master in counseling, and
mm,
I became a counselor back then. Yeah, and that was something that I want to do. Yeah, because in terms of the serving the when I was a police officer, I went home visit. Yeah, and then after that, I mean, people just start to share their problems, family problems. Yeah, and I just be a capo lah. I mean, just listen to their problems, and then I realized that hey, I like to listen to people's problem and help them to solve it. Yeah.
I see. So that's in a way how you, if I may say, stumbled upon your passion, right? You really
Mm,
found it rewarding, fulfilling, and maybe you even saw that you had this kind of ability, right, to be empathetic towards people's needs.
mm, yeah.
Great, great. Hey, Daniel, don't play in front of Vincent, huh?
oh yeah, he still has some police tricks on his sleeve, probably.
Correct, correct. Yeah, he has connections. He might, call his police buddy. Hey, come and check out this guy.
I mean, do you remember the movie? I mean, the TV show Police and Thief. I really enjoyed it growing up.
The
Yeah,
local one, right?
the local one. Yeah, yeah. After the show, I thought being a thief was quite fun also.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. How about you, Daniel? What did you want to be when you were young?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, and I realized at the age of 8 and 9, so this primary two, primary three, I became quite like certain that I wanted to become a teacher. Yeah, yeah, because as I recall, I think growing up as a child, even at that age, I did know that I was a bit different from my peers. Like, either I was not the best academically, not the best student in terms of the values and conduct at times also. Yeah, but I still until today I still remember my primary school teachers. Just a few months ago, I just bumped into one of them, and they left a deep impression on me. Yeah, so at that age, I already knew that this is a very special profession. Those teachers made me feel seen. They made me feel. I think they forgive me lah. Yeah. Last time I wouldn't know the meaning of forgiveness at that age, but now that I think back, why did they have such a deep impact on me? They just continue to forgive me and continue to believe in me. Yeah.
Okay, and today you are a social worker. For me, actually, I can't remember what I wanted to be. But I do remember that I was very interested in science.
Mhm.
I would go to those bookshops, maybe even secondhand bookshops, and the first books I would, make a beeline to are the science books or the scientific books. I remember back in those days, there was already Scientific America, and National Geographic. So I would go to these magazines and I would look through it, and then I'd get my mom or dad to buy me a chemistry set, and all that. Um, well, I turned out to be more like a engineer, all right. But I still love history and literature. And
Mhm.
yeah, today I'm more like a trainer, teacher kind of thing. It could be because it runs in the blood, because on my father's side, two of my uncles and aunties are teachers, educators. So maybe there's a DNA in me, that to be a teacher. I don't know. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm more of a family life teacher, coach, educator kind of person. And I love to, yeah, just like you, Vincent, love to help people. I find it fulfilling. To put it another way, I like to tell people what to do. It's sometimes amazing to think back, right, about what you dreamt about doing and where you are today in life and how different our lives have taken, a different direction, and we are where we are today. And I think what's common among the three of us is that I'm assuming, and I hope I'm right, I believe I'm right, that we have meaning. We do find meaning in our jobs. Unfortunately, it's not the case for most Singaporeans. There was this report in the newspaper quite some time back that says only 25% of Singaporeans says that work gives them meaning in life, and a quarter of us don't have anything more meaningful in life than work. Wow, I think that's, I don't know. To me, that's a very sad state. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite saddening even if I look at my peers, because I'm just out of uni maybe less than 2 years, and I see how the consequences of the lack of meaning, how people can feel very drained. Unfortunately, there's also this perspective, right, that if you want meaning, then it is a privilege, right? You have to have some sort of financial freedom or some sort of financial backing to pursue meaning. Um, yeah, my perspective on this is that I think and I feel that from a very young age there is limited exposure to the population through school, through the intensive education system. And now they're trying to change it, and trying to improve it in terms of being a bit more holistic. Yeah, but I do think so. I mean, hopefully there are more opportunities, that come up from this um, holistic and varied approach to education. But I think I'm just wondering how do we encourage the search for meaning amongst our generation, right? The 20, the 30, the 40-year-olds. Because currently, in my conversations at least, people are postponing the search for meaning, right? I will just work for a good 20 to 30, 20 to 25 years of my life. And then once I have built the capacity financially, then I'll search for meaning. So the idea of is very risk averse. And I think when we deal with this topic, I also think that there also needs to be some sort of compassion also, because some people, they're really forced into their jobs because of the circumstances, the rising cost of living, sandwich generation, when you take care of children, take care of your parents. I mean, that's where I am. But I'm very blessed that my wife and I are generally a bit more satisfied with living simply.
Yeah, I think meaning in life is not that difficult to find. I mean, even if you're working for the money, that's
Mm,
meaning, isn't it? Right? It
mm,
doesn't have to be a very super spiritual, high sounding kind of meaning. Working for money, working just to provide for your family, that is it's kind of a meaning, right?
mm,
But I think, yeah, I'm sure, sometimes people hear, from another person, oh, my meaning in life is to help people, is to change the world. And then when they look at themselves and says, poor me, who am I? Right?
yeah,
How come I don't have these kind of high aspirations, and all I care is about myself is, just meeting the needs, and at least trying to enjoy life and have a better standard of living. Yeah. Vincent,
Mm,
I'm sure you have talked to people who are struggling to find meaning in life.
yeah.
How do you help them?
Mm. In fact, I mean, of course, first thing first, you need to find out what is the meaning in life. Of course, what does it mean by meaning in life? Yeah, like because a lot of people like that I work with, they work for the sake of working to support their family, yeah, and support their children. I mean, that is also like support their even family, their parents as well,
mm,
especially middle age. Yeah, yeah, because I work with quite a number of middle-aged men. Yeah, and and in terms of they work for the sake of working. I mean, of course, to find meanings to them, it's not important. Yeah,
mm,
it's not important for them to find the meaning. Yeah, the urgency is there, or the urgency is that they need to bring in money. Yeah, to support their family. Yeah, and of course, when they meet the so-called the midlife crisis, yeah, and then this is the big hit. They realize that, hey, oh man, what am I doing? Or I mean, for my 30s, 40s of my life, yeah, and of course, in terms of that, right, to find the meaning in life, I help them to really sit down, okay, do a assessment, okay, reassessment of their life, basically, yeah, and find out what is important to them, yeah, basically their values, and also their expectation as well. Yeah, I mean, there are quite a number of things to work on, yeah, when people say that, I mean, they don't have a meaning in life. And not just only people in the middle age, okay? And because I also work with students, secondary
Mm.
school students, they don't find any meaning in the studies. Oh, I mean, that's a bit scary. I mean, they don't find any meaning. They say, what is the point of study? Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, we just, I mean, need to work and then, yeah, and then after that, yeah, then die, that kind of thing.
Especially mathematics, isn't it? Why study algebra? How am I going to use this
Oh,
in
yeah,
life?
what is the use of that?
For the younger generation, I feel that they are not in a hurry to find meaning in life. I think
Mm,
because of this hyper individualism, where everything is about yourself, about even health, mental health is now called self-care or me time. All right. So it's everything about me, me, me. And so meaning in life is about how to make myself happy. Like what we've talked about, right? Parents who are working hard so that they can provide a better life for their children. That is meaning. But the
Mm.
younger generation, I think they have kind of moved away from that or even abandoned that. And they are just, thinking about how do I meet my own needs? How do I you know, provide for what I want. All right. And so they're not even thinking of career, and therefore they're not thinking of a family. And that's what we are seeing today. A lot of young people are postponing marriage. And even when they do get married, those who do get married are thinking very hard about whether they want to start a family or not. Right. And so they just take a job, earn enough money so that they can spend on what they want, and if that job is not providing them enough money to have what they want, they will just go look for another job that pays a little better, or maybe do a side gig, so that they can supplement their income. So I'm beginning to see this trend.
Mm.
Is that a good trend?
Yeah, so I do resonate with what something that you're saying. I mean, I'm part of I guess the newer generation, or maybe amongst the three of us, it's the closest. One thing I'm seeing in Singapore is that I think there are like two, if I can classify the two camps. The first is, I mean, what you coin as a hyper individualism or like materialism. I think that has been influenced by a lot of the media, and how now we have a lot of talk about needing to own a Lamborghini before you reach 30 years old. Like these are some of the goals, right? Needing to have some at least 100K followers on Instagram. I mean, all these things because it is monetized and a lot of people show their money online. Um, we see that I mean, quite scarily, it is a bit more prevalent. I feel in the adolescent stage, like the secondary school to JC, poly, IT, that kind of age group. Why? Because they are way more exposed to social media than even I was, right? Before, when I was at that age, I wasn't in TikTok or what. And then there's also this hyper consumerism, right? Because now you have like schemes like buy now, pay later. You have all these things that encourage some sort of spending. So I think that's one camp of individuals. Um, and yes, I guess the idea of sacrifice, right? Like how can we marry the two terms, right? Sacrifice and meaning, sacrifice and happiness, sacrifice and joy. I do see for the clients that I work with, the parents that I work with, the caregivers that I work with, it's sometimes it's very amazing. They sacrifice so much of their time, their effort, their lives, but they find so much meaning in giving of themselves. Yes, they are tired, definitely. They are tired, they are worn out. And that's why we come into the services, try to support them to alleviate their concerns, and alleviate their stress if possible. That's something that, I mean, how do you define it? It's so beautiful. Yeah. So this is where I lead to another camp of young people. I think there's this other camp of young people who um so they know that their jobs may not necessarily give them meaning. Right? Maybe in a high corporate environment, but then they do maybe a 2% or 3% of their time um, or effort into something else outside of their work. Yeah, or they build it slowly. So I had a conversation with this lawyer. I mean, she came to present at our center, like our family service center. Her name is Cheng Ing Chai. She's the head of Pro Bono SG. So they're trying to provide community services for law in the community. She could become a very illustrious lawyer in the Boeing International Firm. But when she was talking about why she advocates for this, right, I realized throughout her career, this has been a back of her mind. Right? She has been thinking about this. She has been investing time and effort into trying to provide uh, legal services for those who cannot afford it. Right? Because even in Singapore, there's very strict criteria, for pro bono services. So this is somewhere in between. And when I saw her, I just got reminded that okay, um, your job may not necessarily give you the full meaning, but it's your choice, lah. What you want to do outside of your work, or what you want to do at home, what you want to do with your family, what you want to do with the people that you love, things that you love, to enhance the experience of life itself. Yeah, because last time for me, it's like job must be meaningful, if not, waste of time. But I'm seeing these innovations that people are doing. Yeah, social good projects. So we see, I think there's these two camps. I think there needs to be a bit more mentoring and coaching for the younger generation, because you're gonna consume until you realize it's quite depressing. Consume until you can't be satisfied. It's very scary now.
Many years ago, when I was when I was in my first job as an engineer, I was also very active in church. So when people ask me, "Hey, what's your job? What do you do for a living?" I said, "My occupation is an engineer, but my preoccupation is to serve God." So I think that's one way, to be able to, I won't say compartmentalize your life, but yes, if you need a job because you have bills to pay and, that's a responsible thing to do. And being my first job, beggars cannot be choosers, right? So I just grabbed whatever was offered to me. And I tell you, my first job was in Tuas, and I live in Marine Parade.
Oh,
So every morning I would take a 1.5 hour train ride, train and bus ride every morning, one way, okay? Just because that's my first job. But I found solace, I found meaning in my preoccupation, right? Some people might call it today passion. Yeah. So I think that's one way to go around this. If you don't find meaning in your work, well, find something else outside your work that will give you meaning, that will give you that sense of joy, fulfillment, and reward outside of your work.